People who voted for President Biden in the election. How do you feel about him now, almost 90 days into his administration? I feel pretty much nothing about him. He's almost invisible. It's just what I was hoping for. As a Canadian, I am relieved that the news cycle here is no longer being completely dominated by USA politics like it was the last 4 years. I think Biden's doing exactly as well as anyone might have expected someone like him to perform in a position like that. When all these answers are from people who admittedly know nothing and care nothing about policy positions but instead are saying, I don't hear negative stuff from the media, that's both very telling and extremely concerning. I am legit happy to return to hating the president at a normal level instead of hating and being terrified of the president. I sleep well knowing I won't wake up to a 3 a.m. tweet spree. I'm not happy with a lot of things he hasn't done. But I'm also no longer worried I'm going to wake up and hear the president telling me to drink bleach. Quite happy actually, not perfect, didn't expect perfect, but quite happy. When the drama is related to the family dog, I think it's going well. Edit. Since I ruffled feathers. Let me clarify. Yes. There's still issues, but when the drama around the POTUS directly is about the dog and not a 3 a.m. tweet storm. Just nice the prez isn't directly himself inciting drama. 71 days is not almost 90 days. Why not just say 71? After the first 90 days? Not too shabby. He's no Bernie Sanders, but 10 out of 10 no regrets voting for him considering the alternative. Since inauguration I've gotten fully vaccinated, been paid $1,400, and had $10,000 of unemployment from last year written off my taxes. This on top of finally not being embarrassed to be an American like I have been for the last 4 years. Yeah, he's been pretty okay. How do I feel now that the most selfish, pig-headed, stubborn, and unethical person in the United States is no longer the most powerful man in the world? I'm so happy I could fall up the stairs. It's been 70 days, not 90. So, I will let you know in about 3 weeks. Amazing. I don't know why it didn't occur to me before, but is it not possible that Biden is an old man who just wants to fulfill his legacy as a great president and a great man? He has enough money and power to do what he wants. He was the vice president for 8 years under one of the most influential presidents, and now it's his turn. Could he possibly just want to leave his country in a better place than when he was born? Doesn't seem so far-fetched to me. Well, kids are still in cages. We're still bombing other countries. The bar was literally the floor as far as I was concerned when I voted for him, so I am not thrilled. Based on those two factors. That being said, bare minimum to not have to hear Trump's voice for another 4 years, and for that I am grateful. There could be no president at all and I'd be happier than when 45 was cocking everything up every single fucking day. Biden seems like he's trying to do what his office can do to improve the lives of Americans, so there isn't much I can complain about. I'm happy Trump is out, but I expect absolutely nothing from Biden. Look forward to the future election where I get to vote for someone I actually believe is fit for the job. Although I'm not holding my breath. A lot of people voted for Biden simply because they don't want another 4 years of Trump. I am one of those individuals. Anyone not Trump is better in my opinion. As far as how I feel about Biden, he's a softcover Republican. Hardly who I wanted, but the lesser of two evils. It will be a forgettable term. No repeat. He seems to be handling the virus better. So he has that going. Ma. Biden was never going to be the candidate that makes everyone happy. Honestly, he's not really the candidate to make anyone happy. He is the candidate that the establishment felt safest putting up because he won't do much to rock their boat. The best thing he has going for him is that he isn't Trump. I think he will probably die in office or abdicate the nomination in 2024 after a thoroughly forgettable presidency. I am still startled when he speaks. Like, oh yeah, I forgot how presidents talk, no raging narcissism. No spew of pointless lies. No idiot word salad. No injecting disinfectants BS. Been a long 4 years. I don't obsessively watch the news for the latest disaster anymore. I feel like competence has returned to our government. I think he has some challenges, but I do feel assured that Biden can handle them. Things are nice and calm like I wanted. More stimulus went out. No more crazy fucking tweets. We're having actual things done in the Senate. Pretty happy with it so far. But it's early. Biden probably wasn't in my top 3 candidates for the primaries. I am quite happy with how he's doing. Didn't think any president would push back on voting, gerrymandering laws, plus even bother with infrastructure. Let's all be honest, the only reason Biden was elected was to get Trump out of office. I feel good about him so far. Mostly because of the vaccines. Hopefully these next 4 years are uneventful. And we can get someone who is even better than Biden next election. Seems to put his head down and just work. I never needed a king, just a competent manager. I expect lots of people are feeling pretty good. Switching the media psyops from, everything is doomed, to, everything is fine, will have that effect. Honest to God, he's doing better than I had imagined he would. He's rolled back some of the most damning policies of the Trump administration. Provided central leadership for vaccine rollout. And hasn't created massive controversy at every turn. While I would have preferred a more progressive candidate, Biden is doing exactly what he was elected to do. Provide stability both nationally and with our international allies. I mean, he's much better than the alternative and isn't openly embarrassing internationally. I have issues with him. But about the same level of issues as I have with other presidents. But I don't feel sick with anger when I hear him talk or read what he's done. I think he's a bit reactionary. Definitely not as strategic or clever as his previous co-ticket. I wouldn't vote for him again given any choice better than Trump. But I was done with Trump's undermining of the judiciary for the connected class. No regrets. I think I've seen enough to tell that my more progressive policy desires aren't going to happen. But I didn't have any delusions that Biden was a progressive candidate anyways. So Kamala has been a bit disappointing in that regard. I'm not impressed, but I'm not mad either. There are definitely things he can and should be doing better, but also, I guess I'm just more relieved. Instead of a man spewing vitriol about fake news and thinly veiled white supremacy, we have a guy just kinda quietly doing his job. Plus with the vaccine rollout, while not perfect by any means, is much better than I believe the other guy would have done. A lot of these answers are just saying, I don't hear anything so I love it. That concerns me because that tells you the current state of our media and country. Out of sight, out of mind should not be how we look at any administration. His name is in the headlines precisely how often I think a president should be in the headlines. So that's nice. He's not perfect, but I think he's done very well to get the country back on its feet so far. Still a long way to go. Happy with the general election outcome. Unhappy with his getting the Dem nomination. I think he's doing a better job than I expected. The big COVID bill was a win and I'm happy about it, and I'm hopeful about the next bill. Climate change. I think he's pushing. I'm grumpiest about how he's being covered rather than what he's doing. I'd gaff if he stumbled up some stairs, and I'd gaff if he's taking questions from Fox News or not. He's not as far left as I would have liked. But I knew he wouldn't be going into this presidency. I also know that a lot of the stuff that I would really like to see is going to be whittled down because of the makeup of the Senate. He has, however, put forth some things that I've been reasonably impressed with, even if it doesn't get through Congress without major changes. He also doesn't make me feel embarrassed to be an American anymore. So that's nice. I am upset that so many people think it's a good thing to not be hearing anything about Biden's presidency. I think that's both an indictment of the media and the liberal populace who were so critical of Trump for 4 years. Then just blindly support Biden without criticism. As I expected, he is still a better choice than Trump. However, he is still not using the office as effectively as he should. The Democrats have such slim majorities in Congress. He may never pass all of his campaign policy promises. That being said, his policies are too center-left for my liking anyway. He is not a progressive. But I knew that when I voted for him. I think he's doing a good job so far. He isn't a permanent fix. Stitches take time to heal the wound. Both parties are corporate shills. But at least Biden isn't a psychopath. That said, if people think this is actually the solution, they completely ignore the issues that got Trump elected in the first place. I may get hate on here for calling it a scripting language. But I love PowerShell. Simple. Easy to read. Easy to write. I started off by learning Python. Then C#. But PowerShell was the only thing I was able to use right out of the gate. Which is why I stuck with it and later got hired on as a SYS admin because of it. Sleeping well. Not raging about stupidities. Lies. Cronyism. Corruption on an hourly basis is working wonders for me. He has acknowledged that disabled people exist and didn't act like we were scum on the bottom of his shoe that needed to be scraped off. Which is a definite improvement. Not to mention he's actually attempting to do his job instead of wasting all of his time on the golf course, hurting people, or harassing anyone he feels like mistreating. Things are going exactly as I expected. Gas prices going up. Tax increases for everyone. Targeting the working poor the most. Being discussed and implemented soon. He's a no-show re. International relations. Increased hostilities within and outside the U.S. The southern border crisis. Cover-up of his son's crimes. Etc. He's kind of meh. However, it's nice to have a rational adult in the WH. And not a narcissistic sociopath. He is doing everything I elected him for. He still needs to move harder against the Postal Service and push harder for the filibuster change. And he needs his new tax plan passed. But you cannot unfuck an entire country in only 90 days. I don't think about him. He hasn't made me rethink my vote, and I'm not constantly thinking, what is he gonna do next and how crazy will it be? Quote. He is doing better than Trump. But that's like saying an adult is better at a job than a toddler. There is still plenty to criticize him on though. He didn't get the $2,000 stimulus check. He fired staffers for smoking weed while having its legalization be a potential part of his platform. He is a super milquetoast centrist who, if anything, leans right. Most of what he has done is rescind orders made by Trump. Like the trans military ban. and we are now re-entering the WHO and Paris Climate Accords.